Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I read a little Krishna book and just a couple mantras. Finish up this round. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar. There's this verse. Hare Krishna. About controlling the tongue. Prabhupada said this verse once. He said it thousands of times. It's from the Chaitanya Madhya Lila, chapter 17. Atak Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Grayam Indriyai Sevonmukhe jihvādau Swayam eva sparatyata. Translation. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Atat Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grayam Indriyai Sevonmukhe He jihvādau Swayam eva sparatyata. Material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Hare Krishna, Hare. It's not by seeing. Actually, I had that experience when I came to the temple for the first time, 1971, I think, yeah. And the temple room was, of course, it's always an amazing experience, but when you go in for the first time, it was very bright, fresh, and clean. And the curtains were open. It happened to be Janmashtami. Hello. I didn't know. I just wandered in on Janmashtami. And the altar, the curtains were open, but I couldn't actually see what was on the altar. I was in pretty bad shape, actually. I was almost dead, really. I mean, physically, mentally, everything. I was pretty far gone. So, Hare Krishna, I was looking for the truth, and I wasn't having much luck until, bingo, wandered into the temple. And all I could see was like colors and lights. I really couldn't see the forms on the altar with my eyes. But the devotees were chanting. And that chanting, I thought, yes, this is the magic that will melt the stone-like hearts. It's Hare Krishna. I started to cry. And because it was Janmashtami, the devotees were fasting, but they were making offerings like anything, and they were piling everything up in the prasadam room, which used to be where, it used to be a funeral home, that building, and that was where the caskets were displayed. But it was the prasadam hall. And they were piling them up. So I helped myself. I sat there and I ate for a long time. I just ate everything I could. But the seeing experience didn't do much for me. I couldn't see the forms with my eyes, but I could hear Krishna, and I could taste the prasadam. And I also began to chant a little bit. The devotee suggested that I should chant, so I was chanting a little also. But the seeing, actually I moved into the temple that night. It took 6 weeks of hearing and chanting and taking prasadam and doing simple services in the temple, cleaning floors, making flower vases, things like that, before I could actually see the forms on the altar. Now, not everyone is that far gone, but I was pretty far gone. And I got so excited that I could see Poo-poo, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you. We get so excited at the forms of seeing Radha Gopi Ballabha on the altar. I just ran up to all the devotees. Do you know what's on the altar? Have you seen the forms on the altar? And they looked at me like I was crazy. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. It's by controlling the tongue, by chanting and hearing, taking prasadam. Then we become purified. All the senses become purified. As Prabhupada was explaining earlier, that they're in a straight line. The tongue, the belly, and goes down. And when the tongue is controlled, then everything in a straight line is all controlled. Fixed on Krishna. 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that verse again from Madhya Lila 17, verse 136. Atat Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grayam Indriyai Sevonmukhe hi jihvādau swayam eva sparatyada. Material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified. And one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So, let's engage the tongue and the ears in a little Krishna Katha. It's a Krishna book. Oh, we're up to chapter 21, the gopis attracted by the flute. It's the summary study of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Krishna 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 Hey Krishna 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 Hey Krishna 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 Rakshamam Krishna 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 Pahimam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, Krishna. Chapter 7, text 96. Let's see what it is. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The devotees have put everything online. It's so wonderful. And when we just had the books, if you wanted to look something up, you had to use the index. And the indexes were always very incomplete. They were really, really crude way to search for something. But here, you can do a search function and it'll go through every word of the book to find. It's amazing. Alright, so this Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna is Madhya 7, text 96. So there's Madhya 7, and there's text 96. And there it is. Okay, good. Translation. The Lord chanted, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshamam. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahimam. Which roughly translates to, O Lord Krishna, please protect me and maintain me. Please protect me and maintain me. Please protect me and maintain me. And then the other line, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Pahimam. Translates, O Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu, please protect me. O Krishna, O Keshava, killer of the Keshi demon, please maintain me. Descendant of Raghu, Ram, Lord Ramchandra, please protect me. Krishna, protect me. Ramachandra, protect me. Hare Krishna. The gopis, attracted by the flute. Krishna was very pleased with the atmosphere of the forest, where flowers bloomed and bees and drones hummed very jubilantly. While the birds, trees, and branches were all looking very happy, Krishna, tending the cows, accompanied by Sri Balaram and the cowherd boys, began to vibrate his transcendental flute. After hearing the vibration of the flute of Krishna, the gopis in Vrindavan remembered him, began to talk amongst themselves about how nicely Krishna was playing the flute. When the gopis were describing the sweet vibration of Krishna's flute, they also remembered their pastimes with him. Thus, their minds became disturbed, and they were unable to describe completely the beautiful vibrations. While discussing the transcendental vibration, they remembered also how Krishna dressed, decorated with a peacock feather on his head, just like a dancing actor, and with blue flowers pushed over his ear. His garments glowed yellow gold, and he was garlanded with a Vaijayanti necklace. Dressed in such an attractive way, Krishna filled up the holes of his flute with the nectar emanating from his lips. So they remember him entering the forest of Vrindavan, which is always glorified by the footprints of Krishna and his companions. Krishna was very expert in playing the flute, and the gopis were captivated by the sound vibration, which was not only attractive to them, but to all living creatures who heard it. One of the gopis told her friends, "The highest perfection of the eyes is to see Krishna and Balaram entering the forest and playing their flutes and tending the cows with their friends." Persons who are constantly engaged in the transcendental meditation of seeing Krishna internally and externally by thinking of him playing the flute and entering the Vrindavan forest have really attained the perfection of samadhi. Samadhi, or trance, means absorption of all the activities of the senses on a particular object, and the gopis indicate that the pastimes of Krishna are the perfection of all meditation and samadhi. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that anyone who is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna is the topmost of all yogis. Another gopi expressed her opinion that Krishna and Balaram, while tending the cows, appeared just like actors going to play on a dramatic stage. Krishna was dressed in glowing garments of yellow, Balaram in blue, and they held new twigs of mango tree, peacock feathers, and bunches of flowers in their hands. Dressed with garlands of lotus flowers, they were sometimes singing very sweetly among their friends. One gopi told her friend, "How is it Krishna and Balaram are looking so beautiful?" Another gopi said, "My dear friend, we cannot even think of his bamboo flute. What sort of pious activities did it execute so that it is now enjoying the nectar of the lips of Krishna?" Krishna sometimes kisses the gopis, therefore the transcendental nectar of his lips is available only to them, and his lips are considered their property. Therefore the gopis asked, how is it possible that the flute, which is nothing but a bamboo rod, is always engaged enjoying the nectar from Krishna's lips? Because the flute is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, the mother and father of the flute must be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I have time to chant somewhere. Oh Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Atak Shri Krishna Namadi, Abhavet Graham Indiyad, Sevonmukhe hi jihvādau, Swayam eva sparatyata. Material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name. Form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Hare Krishna.